Hey everybody, this is Cisco Cracker, also known as Coop. I'll be describing what I'm doing about how I'm mounting the radiators in these air ducts for my D&R kit. Just a minute about what you're looking at for which model this is on this windshield. You can see how it's got the frame piece here, so the windshield doesn't meet up directly to the door. And when you look all the way across, you can see there's more of a turn there at the corner, the passenger side, than it is here on the driver's side. And that's because this was meant for the Lumina APV minivan or Pontiac Transport windshield to be used, and you cut about 6 inches off the driver's side. I got one from Optic Armor that's coming in. But yeah, just to get onto the radiators, because that's what this video is about. So I cut these scoops out. You know, they were molded in larger, just like this one down here is currently. I haven't cut that out yet. So I cut this out, as you can see there. And then I've got the air vent just kind of mounted up in there, propped up with some wood and a DeWalt reciprocating saw box. And then I've got some that strap I'm using for the mounting points. And those air boxes, what they say is bad about them is that they don't flow enough air. You actually have to cut out holes in them to make more air flow through to the radiator, then they're fine. So that's what I've done here. And I've got some expanded metal I'm going to use in front of that as a screen to keep the radiator from getting damaged. But anyhow, I've got this one in just kind of mocked up so I can check it out. And it looks like it's going to be really close for the tail lights, so I haven't had a chance to check that out yet. But you can see it gets boxed in all the way, you know, and I recessed it back up in there a bit so I have room for the fan. But these fans, which were out of my F-body, my 95 Trans Am, I just cut it down the middle between the two of them so I could reuse the shrouds. Those are going to be tough to deal with, and I've got some taillight lenses in here just to check things out. Yeah, you can see how they're designed to have room for the tail lights if the radiator doesn't stand up too much. And they've actually got a piece that covers over the top of this to keep the air ducted through the radiator and out so it doesn't mix air with the engine bay. So, I mean, it's nice, but I got to make it work. I got to get it to fit. So, what I'm going to go over today is on this one, how I'm going to, I've already cut this one out, and I've test fitted a couple of times to make sure that radiator drops down in there so it passes through the bottom of it well enough to keep the top down somewhat. I got a 2x4. I'm going to prop this up under, put this on top of the 2x4 and let the radiator down through to the tabletop so that I can get the same depth that I got on the other one. And what I'm mounting this stuff up with here, I've got these 6, these are metrics, so it's 6x1 screws, and I'm using flat washers and lock washers with that, where these guys mount here, and on the top where those mount. And I only did use 3 of the 4 mounting points on the other radiator. I think that'll be sufficient. We'll have a look. Then I'm using 1/4-20. This is all stainless. 1/4-20 by 3/4 long enough to go through everything. So I'll go through a piece of strap. I'll actually sandwich the fiberglass. Whenever I drill the hole, I'll put one of these fender washers on either side of that hole to sandwich that fiberglass to keep it from busting out. And then right on the other side of the sandwich will be the strap, and then right outside the strap I've got these nylon lock nuts. So out of the pictures that you've seen from yesterday's post, that's what I used to assemble it with. And then yeah, I just measure things to make sure I've got them evened up of where I've got the radiator mounted into this slot here, and then I mark the holes with the Sharpie and drill them out and sandwich the thing together. So, give you a little better view of what this thing looks like, trying to stay out of the sun. So it actually has the shape for the left and the right to fit the vent opening, and then it gets wider to fit the radiator out back. And that's the problem. That vent opening only just isn't enough airflow, so you have to open these things up more. Anyhow, I will continue in a bit. Something else I did notice that I did want to mention was that Sawzall, that reciprocating saws out here to cut these little pieces of strap. That's all that was for. The way I cut this fiberglass box was with one of those vibrating saws that got a variable speed. Just kind of nibbles at it. Anyhow, didn't want anybody thinking that was being cut with a Sawzall, by no means. So I got my first little piece bent here. It's about the shape it needs to be. It's going to go right on there. And I'll just mark it from underneath and drill the holes through. So it's handy to have one of these 90-degree offset screwdrivers. That's a Phillips 2, 1 and 2 on the opposite ends of each other. And then what I'm doing on these guys, I'm putting the flat washer between the bracket and the boss, so that stays square and keeps the bracket from mashing directly against the boss, keeps that plumbed up. Then another flat and a lock washer on the screw, and then we're going to mark and drill those next, but I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up so it's sitting in the right spot. Earlier on I did mark the inside of this box whenever I had it where I wanted it. I drew lines on the inside so I could position it in the same spot again. Be right back. Another important point to make is when I was marking these, I skipped a hole. So I got the furthest one away, skip a hole and take the next one. This is to maximize the surface area across the fiberglass. Plus, once you have those 1-inch washers on, you know, you're getting more of at least a 3.5-inch area of surface that you're gripping on the fiberglass. You know, as far as people may be concerned about busting the walls of that stuff, it's really thick. But aside from that, just the best practice. Being a one-man production today, I have to do a little piece and then pick up the camera again. So anyhow, I didn't get to show you me actually drilling, but there it is. So we're going to drop the radiator back in and screw this one down tight so that we can align and mark this other side. I thought before I got it tightened up, I'd show that there's that washer from each of those in between. And then on the other side of the fiberglass, so now onto this side. I'm gonna make a strap and turn it in a twist to get up there to it. Alright. So we got our 2 holes drilled. I'm gonna get these quarter 20 hardware in there. And we'll put one more down here at the bottom. It's going to be a single screw instead of a double screw because the thickness of this flange is about as thick as my finger. That's all I got. Plus, you know, all the weight's being held from the top. So anyhow, it's more of a stabilizer. Thanks for watching.